Nigerian men. I am looking for a husband, someone that wants to come to the United States and spend his life with me. I own my own home. I have a really good job, and I want you to be able to come here and have a better life. If you're interested, hit me up. And also, I have Nash.
So we're entering Passport Bros World Domination Tour Phase 2. Passport Bros arguably started their domination tour last year in 2022 when the Passport Bros suddenly became the news on the lips of every angry strag in America. And now, as you can see, we have, I guess you could call it competition. I really don't want to call it competition. The Passport Hoes, they've decided that they want to compete because they feel that it's so easy to just go overseas for these women in America. They feel it's so easy to just go overseas and get themselves a foreign man. Well, unfortunately, as I'm about to show you with these, the other video clips and perhaps some in the next video I do, it ain't that easy. And there's a simple reason for it. And I know, there's a lot of strags that watch this channel and they, hate on it and everything because they can't take the truth. You can't handle the truth. I understand that. But the simple reason why is because women are so hypergamous, they can't deal with these men abroad. The men abroad, first of all, earn less money than they do because these women have the benefit of earning American dollars. And because they earn American dollars, their exchange rate is far beyond what these foreign men have. So that's number one. Number two, most of these foreign men would never want to deal with an American woman because they hate their attitudes and they just don't like their demeanor. These women are not feminine. I'm sorry, it just is what it is. These women are not feminine, and the women in those men's country are. So when these women are going abroad and they're on these rafts and they're doing sip and paint parties and blah, 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 the reality is all they're doing is tricking. The same tricking that they accuse the American men of doing, they're doing it themselves. The only difference is when the American men go abroad, the American men can actually get wives. So they're, she just wants a green card. Yeah, well, here's the problem. The guys who they're getting, they only want green cards too. But for the most part, most of these women abroad, they would love to marry a passport bro because that's their last best hope to get out of the rat race that they're currently involved in their country, which they're not getting anywhere because their economies are disastrous or developing. So, they like to call these women, say they're from the third world and whatever, but the reality is these developing countries, yeah, they're slowly coming up, but you're not going to really see them get strong for another 2 or 3 generations. As it is right now, the American way of life is declining, and these developing countries are slowly rising, slowly. Brazil, India, Russia, China, and a couple others, South Africa, other parts of Africa, Nigeria, these developing countries are slowly coming up. So what these women are doing is they're trying to go to these developing countries and they're trying to get men, but it's just not working the same exact way as it works for the men. And that's just a simple fact. So I'm not going to harp on that too long. So more and more you're seeing on TikTok, you're seeing these women getting rejected. You're seeing these men use them and then leave them, or pump and dump, we call it. And, I'm sorry, it just is what it is. It's like, don't think that you can play in a man's game and win. You can't. These women are hypergamous. The men abroad aren't having it. They're not interested. They're not interested in having to fight with women. They're not interested. They're just not. Now, what you may notice, and this is the last thing I'll say, is what these women are doing, it's just like how Stella got a groove back. They're going after the young men who aren't old enough to be set in their ways in their own country. Now, I'm not going to really criticize that because that's kind of exactly what the Passport Bros and the Passport Joes, that's exactly what they do. They go after younger women who haven't had enough time to ruin themselves and become a Christmas kicker. So that it is what it is, but I'm not gonna harp on that too long. So this guy Austin Abetia, this is the reason why I refuse to refer to this guy as a passport bro. This guy's a passport Joe. Passport bros are specifically black males, and we've basically got that moniker because of TikTok and the women making attacks on the passport bros on TikTok. Regardless what anybody says, I'm not going to refer to him as a Passport Bro. I'm going to refer to him as Passport Joe. So right here it says, I'm a Passport Joe who travels the world to date foreign women. I hope to settle down one day. For now, I love exploring the world. Austin Abetya is a self-described Passport Joe who runs a TikTok documenting his travels. Some people criticize the women who date Passport Bros and Joes, believing that they are only after a green card, Abetya says. Abetya says becoming a Passport Joe will help him to find the right woman. It very well absolutely will. The one thing I will agree on is the fact that going abroad, and not so much dating, going abroad is absolutely way better for marriage.
Passport sister fails in drive.
I just want a normal relationship where my partner wants to spend time with me when I'm visiting from another country. And we haven't even seen each other for several months. And you're making me feel like I have to beg you to spend time with you. That's up.
Mira, honestamente, yo no estoy pasando tiempo contigo porque tú eres una persona que me vive tirando muchas cosas en cara.
I'm not going to harp on this too long, and the reason why is because most of these stories have been played out. You see, the Passport Bros win without writing a single word. The Passport Bros, at this point, they've already told their story. They've already explained where they traveled. They explained why they traveled. There's very little new going on, with the exception of the pictures and the videos. So I'm not going to harp on this too long. I'm just going to take a look at the broad strokes. It says this as told to essay is based on a conversation with Austin Abetya, a 32-year-old digital nomad who's one of the most popular Passport Bros on TikTok. It's been edited for length and clarity. Good, because I didn't want to have to read a lot. I grew up in Colorado Springs. The city is home to both Army and Air Force bases, so I had a chance to make friends with people from all over the U.S. Growing up, I had an average Colorado childhood. All right, I'm going to skip this part because nobody cares. It's like anybody who's reading this shit is like, yo, get to the fun part. Get to the juicy part, right? I took on a job as a data analyst in 2020. It went remote. I thought that if I could work from my room and be productive, then I could do it from Mexico or Indonesia or even Japan. So I took a leap of faith and became a digital nomad later that year. Let me just say this. For those of you who are thinking about being Passport Bros and you're thinking about working abroad as digital nomads, the one thing that I have to warn you about is you have to make sure that wherever you go, they have a strong internet connection. And now that may seem easier than, you may think that sounds like an easy thing, but the problem is internet connections in certain places can be problematic. When I was in Philippines, for example, I was in a nice condo. I have a condo there and I rent it out. It's a very lovely condo. If you followed my videos, you know that I've made videos about it. Got a lot of pools there, got a mall nearby, so forth and so on. So it's a very nice place. The problem is they use cable internet. They don't have Fios. My internet in my house is fast. It's business fast because it's Verizon Fios. But when you go to these other countries and you're using cable, the problem is you're sharing your bandwidth with other people. Now, if you're just doing text documents and you're uploading work or downloading work and then you're working on it remotely and then sending it back, that might not be so bad. But in certain places, the internet speeds are horrible, especially if you have to do video conference. When I was in Maldives, video conferencing was limited basically to speech. If you tried to use video, you would lag out. Philippines is kind of the same way. Any country where you're talking about archipelagos and you're not, it's like, I know Tesla with SpaceX has Starlink under Elon Musk. Starlink is kind of trying to solve this issue. But the problem is when you're dealing with satellite, your latency is just so bad until certain things that are intensive, you're just not going to be able to do it. So you have to keep that in mind. Now, I will say this real quickly. The best type of job to do abroad is if you're a trainer and you train foreign people. Like, for example, if you go to the Philippines and you're training call center people, that is a good job. If you're going to like India, and India, believe me, India is not a great place to really go. If you're a passport, it's really not. But there are some places, Philippines, Thailand, mostly Southeast Asia, I'll say. if you're going there and you're doing training, that is a good way to be a digital nomad, and that's a good way to be a passport bro, because you're working abroad, you're getting paid American wages, and you're living abroad. And most people don't want to do that, and the reason why is because if they have a family here, they want to stay close to their family. So you may be the exception to the rule that actually wants to go abroad and actually wants to work in a foreign country. A lot of people don't want to do that. So when you're talking about having to train in foreign call centers and how to train them, how to better take American jobs, some people just don't want to do that. So if you're the exception to the rule, that's good. You know, you might have a niche that somebody else just doesn't have. It says one of the biggest challenges was convincing my manager, Sam, that the tax laws allowed it. I also had to ensure that I would be productive while traveling. Thankfully, Sam listened to me with an open mind, took a risk, and allowed me to work remotely anywhere in the world. Okay, great. So we got the pictures of him with the canoe and everything. Yeah, that's great. Before becoming a digital nomad, I had relationships with women in the U.S. While I believe that there are some amazing women in the U.S., I found dating outside the country to be more fun, more exciting. Well, there's a simple reason for that, and I phrase things in ways that other people don't phrase things or don't want to phrase things. Like I'll say stuff people don't want to say. American men dominate in other countries. American men dominate the economies of other countries. When you have American money coming in, whether it's your pension, whether it's your paycheck, whatever, when you go to other countries, your paycheck, your pension, whatever it is worth 3, possibly 5, maybe even 10 times more. Think about it like this. If you make $100,000 a year, $100,000 a year is not that much in certain parts of America. If you're in California or New York, it's not. But in other countries, it's a lot. There is no feeling like walking into a restaurant or a store or a mall and knowing that there's nothing in that store that you can't afford. And then on top of that, when we go to other countries, we have credit cards. In many countries, they don't have credit cards, or they don't live in, how should I say, a debt-based system. Now, if you're a person like me and you have the discipline and you pay your credit card back and everything, credit card is not a problem. It's actually a tool. I pay my credit card down to a $0 balance every single time I use it. It's a good feeling to say, yeah, I can go into a store and I can buy anything in that entire store that I want at all. Most of these other people in these other countries, they can't do that. If you go to the Philippines or Thailand, the average worker there only makes about $10,000 US per year. So when you take one of us who makes over $100,000 or even $60,000, you're still making 6 times what the average person makes in one of those countries, even if you only made $50,000.
So I'm going to ask you directly.
Yeah.
Do you want a divorce?
I do want a divorce.
So you want to be done?
Yeah. I don't care if she sends me back to my country. I just want a peace of mind. I just want a peace of mind. She's not giving me the peace of mind. I'm doing everything for her. You know, I'm not getting that appreciation. You know, when somebody do something for you, you give appreciation. That person will want to do more.
So you're hearing this directly. He's saying he wants a divorce.
Green card bro wants out.
Processing it? Are you receiving that?
Processing.
The next aspect to remember is that you also dominate their men if you're an American man. You're taller than their men. You're obviously wealthier than their men in general. On top of that, the women in those countries consider you more handsome than their own men for various reasons, or maybe they consider you more masculine than their own men. And that's just what it is. Not only that, you obviously dominate over the women. You're taller, you're, probably healthier in most cases, especially if you're going to a developing nation. So the reality is the ball is in the court of the passport bros. So let's continue with the story just a little. It says, I now describe myself as a passport Joe, someone who travels the world and dates foreign women hoping to find a life partner. I also run a TikTok account with 430,000 followers where I share my journey and offer advice to others who are interested in becoming a passport bro. The reality is the passport bros, I don't really think they have to offer much philosophy. All they really have to do is tell potential men from America what's a nice country to go to, what's safe to go to, where should you stay, so forth and so on. Just the basics. My thing is, let American men find that adventure for themselves. There are a lot of American men who've never traveled, and because of the American media, they're jaded against traveling. Maybe they're afraid to travel. I find it so interesting that you have so many of these dummies in America who don't travel, and yet they're so quick to tell you how life is overseas. I remember during COVID, I had people telling me, like, I was like, yeah, I want to go to Thailand. Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And I was like, this is during COVID. New York City was ground fucking zero for COVID. And you're up there telling me that I shouldn't go somewhere else where they have fewer people dying? It's just like when I wanted to go to South Korea. I was lucky. I went to South Korea and I toured all around South Korea before COVID, the same year. It was 2019, right before COVID actually happened in the fall. And the thing about it is South Korea had far fewer deaths. They had a far more hygienic culture already built in. And people are telling me that they wouldn't feel safe going there. I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You got more people dying right here. And then when it comes to the violence. Now, granted, there are some places where we know, thanks to the news, that it's extraordinarily violent, like the cartels and shit. Gunning down people going to get BBLs and getting shot up, people going to get BBLs, getting their kidneys taken. There are certain places that we already know by fact, not by opinion, not by conjecture, we know aren't safe. There are certain places, war zones, for example. There are certain places we know not to go. Thing about it is, countries that I've been to, like, so many, China, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, it's like Thailand. It's like a lot of these people, they have no idea what these countries are like beyond what they've seen on movies. And they actually think that these countries are more dangerous than where they live. And most of these people live in dangerous shitholes. and that's just a reality. So, I don't take them too seriously. I don't take them seriously at all. So the beautiful thing about these Passport Bro testimonials is that we have the receipts. Ask these other people who talk all this bullshit and talk, the women abroad, they're just like the women here. Ask them to show receipts on that. Oh yeah, the women where are just like the women here. Where have you been? Show receipts, show photos, show videos. I guarantee you, shuts them right up. They ain't got nothing to say. All right, so it says, as a passport bro who's constantly traveling, I surround myself with women who are my type. In other words, I choose to be with women who have the qualities that I'm looking for. I found many women overseas to be more open-minded. I think finding a life partner is one of the most important decisions in life. Obviously, it is. So dating in different countries gives me the best odds of finding a partner. All right, let's see if there's anything else interesting here. It says passport bros have their fair share of criticism. For example, some people say that passport bros are losers who don't do much to upgrade their lives. Well, first of all, if you're a person who is literally moving and living around the world to work a job in IT, why are we listening to these morons? Why are we listening to these people? Their opinions are as worthless as shit in a goose's ass. Why are we listening to these people? Why are you taking anything they say seriously? There's certain people, I just don't even take them seriously anymore. Like, I don't even listen to their, you know how they say an opinion's like a asshole, everybody's got one? My thing is like, I don't even care about your opinion. Like, why are you listening to these people? Anybody who's criticizing you and SBEing, shame, blaming, and explaining, cut them off. There's no point in even listening to them. And as soon as they start talking, you start talking. And while they're talking, just run them over. Don't fucking even let them get a word in. There's no point. Why are you arguing with these people? Passport bros show receipts. I said this in the last video. We don't have to argue. We got all you got. Oh yeah, well you dusty and you ain't got no money. Oh yeah, well here's a video of me on the beach with a chick half your age with real hair who doesn't have raptor claws, doesn't have nose rings, doesn't have tonsil rings, and actually has some level of femininity, who can actually cook and clean and this, that, and other. You don't have to argue. You don't even have to argue. You don't have to type nothing. You don't have to argue with them. Just post a video, post a photo. These are Passport Bros receipts. That's what I'm talking about. Another misconception is that Passport Bros can't meet the standards. Who gives a fuck what their standards are? Can't meet the standards? Are you kidding me? Now, let's just count on, let me just count on one hand. I'm gonna pick my hand up. You can't see my hand because you're listening to my voice. You got fake hair. You're wearing press-on raptor claw nails that look like the Velociraptor. And this is something else I wanted to say about that. When I saw the movie Jurassic Park, and I was a kid, and I saw that movie was awesome. Like, it was a masterpiece. We had never seen dinosaurs look that real, CGI and whatnot. And when you see those raptors, and they got those big-ass fucking nails, like they got that one toenail that just hangs up, and when they jump on you, they stab you in the back with it, or they use it to slash your stomach or whatever. Only an American woman would look at some shit like that and say, you know what? I can't wait to get a pair of nails like that. Really? That's like these people who see sharks, and they see the shark teeth, and they say, man, I wish I had teeth like that. So what they do is they go to the dentist and they have their teeth filed down into shark teeth. I'm like, there's something seriously wrong here. The mental illness is out of control. Raptor claws, fake hair, fake boobs, fake eyelashes. I could keep going, but chances are you'll think of something I didn't think of. Fake butts. They're going to Brazil, going to Dominican Republic, and having fat taken out of their stomach to inject in their ass. And if they're lucky, they wake up and they still have both of their kidneys. Because in some of these countries, they're stealing your kidneys while you're on the table and you're unconscious. Woman comes back to America, doesn't have her kidneys, and she's like, oh yeah, my stomach hurts. I go to the bathroom and pee comes out and it's bloody. And I'm like, why? And then you go and find out you got your kidney snatched. It's like, are you kidding me? And y'all have the nerve to talk about standards? High body count? 2 or 3 baby daddies? 2 or 3 bastard children by men you don't even know who the baby daddy is. You would put him on child support, but you're not sure if that's him. So you would rather not put him on child support, so this way you don't get the DNA test, because all you'll be is like Maury will be there reading it. He'd be like, Jerome, in the case of 2-year-old Devin, you are not the father. Woo! Yeah, woo! Yeah, and jumping around. And I'm like, you're talking about standards? Really? Really? You're talking about standards? Really? Oh yeah, well, if he's not 6 feet tall and he got a 6-pack and he's got a 6-inch Johnson, yeah, then I'm not even talking to him. You've got the nerve, the gall of these people, Really, standards. I don't even want to read the rest of this paragraph, because as far as I'm concerned, it's bullshit. Let's keep going. So some people criticize the women who date passport bros. Who gives a shit what they think? Who cares? Believing that they are only after a green card. So basically what you're telling me is that they're with this man because they want a green card that allows them to get a job in America so that they can work and possibly support their parents back home. Because let's be honest, most American men, especially if they're dating in the Philippines or Thailand, usually it's the Philippines, not really Thailand, but if they're dating a Filipina, chances are they understand up front that they have a very family-oriented culture. Their parents probably don't have that much money. When that woman moves in with you, she's going to be your wife, and she's going to make some money, and she's going to send some money back home. Understand something. The mere fact that these people make like less than $10,000 a year on average, if she sends home $200 a month, let's say she's working a job here, making $30,000 a year, because, you know, that's your average job. Let's say you make it, and you're far below the poverty line if you're making $30,000 a year. I think that's obvious, especially considering here in New York, if you're making $30,000 a year, chances are you wouldn't be able to survive on your own without welfare. Here's the thing. This woman is making money and sending money back home to her family to support her mom and her father, and possibly, if she has a baby brother, to support him going to school. I think I speak for most passport bros when I say they totally understand that. Not only do they understand that, some of them are willing to contribute. I don't see a problem with that. You mean to tell me that this woman is selfless to the point where she's focused on working, and she knows that by marrying a dude, she can get a better opportunity at life than she'd ever have in her own country? Well, you know what I consider that? I consider that pragmatic. I consider that prudent. I consider that intelligent. I consider that I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem with that. But only here, where you have strags with fake hair, fake boobs, fake butts, fake nails, raptor claw nails, nose rings with boogers and snot all over the ring, only here do you have people who are materialistic enough to point at someone else and say that because you're working to improve your family by sending them money home, that you're the problem. But you know what they say? When you point a finger, you got 3 fingers pointed back at you. That's what they say. And it's a fact. It's disgusting. I've met many women abroad who appreciate Passport Bros, including lawyers and women with degrees from Cambridge University. Okay. I love my life and plan to continue traveling the world for a few more years. I want to start a family one day and don't want to be traveling while raising kids. The top contenders on my list are Brazil, Colombia, South Korea. Okay. As a digital nomad, I'm living a life that's impossible for me in the U.S., and ultimately I hope to marry someone beautiful, loyal, and family-oriented. Notice that all of these Passport Bros, who they've been criticized as being tricks and this, that, and other, all of them continue to focus on family-orient. They're looking for women who want to have families, who don't want to have abortions, who want to have families, and who take care of their own families. Notice that. Something worth noticing. I work hard so that I'll be able to afford a nice house for my family and take care of them. Okay, I think that's the end of the story, and then you get back to this Titan submersible. That thing crushed like in the movie Abyss with Captain Coffee, and he was in the sub, and they pushed him off a ledge, and when he fell off the ledge, he fell so deep, his poor little sub had just crushed itself. Yeah, I felt bad. I knew those people weren't going to make it. It's a damn shame. But where are we? So that's the story. This is why I hate these stories, because this is actually 1 out of 2 stories, and the other one is about this exact same guy. There's a reason why, and people keep on trying to criticize me in the comments, and I just want you to understand, I don't give a fuck what you're saying. I don't care about your criticism. The reason why I will not relent in specifically mentioning, yes, this guy is a Passport Joe, not a Passport Bro, is because Passport Bros tells the story of black men who've been attacked on TikTok by strags in America because they have decided that the dating culture is so disgusting here that they would rather go overseas and they would rather meet someone who's more wholesome and feminine. So by interjecting these other people into that story, what you're doing is you're taking away from the overall connotation of what the word actually means. You're taking away from it. And I'm not going to let that happen here. The connotation, the denotation, I control those narratives. So you could say whatever the fuck you want. You could take your comment, stick it up your ass, and you could put some Clorox bleach, and you can make it nice and clean and everything. You can make a nice, clean asshole. I don't care. Whatever you do, I don't care. There's a window right here. You can jump out of it. I care less. I really don't. I say what I say. I mean what I say 100%, and I'm not backing down. So that is what it is. But I have no problem referring to him as a Passport Joe. I have no problem looking at his story and talking about the stories. But what I won't allow to happen is I won't allow the impact that this has had online to be just taken away. I won't allow that to happen. I'm going to continue saying exactly what I say the way I say it. So I've given you the vocabulary. The Passport Bros are black men who are traveling abroad, looking for relationships with women, looking for starting families with foreign women. Passport Joes are the exact same thing, only those are the white men or the Hispanic men. Actually, you could call those the Passport Cholos. You also have the Passport Hoes, as in the Asian men, or the Passport Chos. Those are like the Chinese or the Koreans. Because they're, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, they are going down south and they're looking for women in Macau, Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia. And the reason why is because they have feminism destroying South Korea, destroying Japan. Their birth rates are way down. Fertility rates are way down. The Chinese are dealing with the consequences of the one-child policy. They had too many men, too few females. The Indians are going down to Thailand. When I was in Thailand, I saw a whole lot of Indian guys down there. They go down to Pattaya, Phuket. They're going to those tourist traps. That's why when I went to Thailand, I stay away from the tourist traps. The tourist traps attract the worst as far as when it comes to marriage. Those women who come to those tourist traps, they're focused on short-term relationships. These foreign guys are going to the tourist traps and they're looking for wives. I don't do that. If I know that there's a lot of tourists, or especially a lot of Americans, I stay away from those places. Any place I know that there's going to be Americans or foreign male tourists, I just stay away from those places entirely. I would rather just go hang in the community itself, the regular city and everything where the people are there specifically to work. And from there, if I want to go, to the beach or whatever, you just take a trip to the beach and you come back. Or you go to a place like Cebu, where it's surrounded by beach and it's a nice city. Or you go to Dumaguete, where it's mostly, nice beach and it's got, city and everything. It's got some city in it. I prefer cities. And that's because I'm a New Yorker. So I understand that all the infrastructure is here. Everything I need is here. I don't have to look too hard for anything. Everything's already there. So that's just the way I see it. Now, you can do whatever you want, but I'm just telling you how I do it. And the other thing, they also have this thing called skin tax. If they know that there's a place that there's going to be a lot of tourists, all of the prices are artificially higher, and they know that the tourists will pay it without thinking twice about it. If tourists are willing to pay $16 for a pack of cigarettes in their own country because they smoke, and then they go someplace like China or the Philippines or something, and cigarettes are vastly cheaper, like $5 a pack, why would they sell it for $5 a pack when they could sell it for $8 or $9 or $10 a pack? They know you'll still think it's cheaper because you were used to paying $16. But they're doing it based on the fact that they know that you're a tourist and you don't recognize the fact that they're marking their prices up by 50%, maybe even 100%. You don't know. So my thing is, I stick to where they live and where they shop. Because if you stick to where they live and where they shop, you're going to get prices targeted at the people themselves. And this way, they can't simply see you coming and just raise the price. The price is already slapped onto whatever you're buying. If you go to their grocery stores, their malls, the price is already slapped onto what you're buying. The only thing you will notice is more expensive is the foreign imported product, because they know that their people aren't going to buy that product. You're going to buy it, and you're willing to pay more money for it. One of the cases I remember was spaghetti sauce, pina alla vodka sauce, and buying certain brands of mozzarella cheese, like when I wanted to cook in the condo. So that's just how I see it. So this is it. We have just entered summer. And you know what I say? It's like they were so worried about winter coming, they forgot about summer. Summer started 2 days ago on the summer solstice. That was 6/21. Today is 6/23. And we got receipts coming. The receipts are going to grow and grow and grow and grow. And we're going to go through this year. We're going to have even more receipts as it gets colder, because when it gets cold, it's still warm in certain other countries. Passport Bro is going to be bringing in more receipts. You got people living in countries where it's eternal summer. It doesn't change because the sun is directly overhead 24 hours all the time, every day. It's just summer, summertime, all the time. Passport Bro receipts. It's coming. And they know it's coming. And they're upset about it. But that's their problem. So, bottom line is get your passport. If you haven't already, I know a lot of people got their passports. Some people have them in the mail right now. Get your passports and get your piece of life. The grass is greener on the other side. They don't want you to see it. They want you to stay on the plantation. Don't stay on the plantation. Get your passports and get you your little slice of life. Because if you stay here, believe me, you're going to regret it.
So that is it. I told her what I want. I want a divorce in the marriage because I can't live my life like this. Yeah, that is it.
Just watch how at ease he is as his Filipino wife does traditional African dance.
Only the king, you know it. King already, you know it. Top everything, you know it. King already, you know it. My body so.
Take a good long look, everybody. That's what the competition looks like. Ain't nothing but competition coming from over there in East Asia and Southeast Asia. It's over. It's over. They're winning. They're about to win. These passport blowers getting their tickets. We flying. Formation, we flying. We getting out of here. We flying. We getting off the plantation. Let's go.
To be continued.